We're making no-bake chocolate brownie protein bars that are gluten-free, easy to make, and with clean ingredients. They're packed with protein, healthy fats, and fiber for a satisfying snack that tastes like dessert. Hello, my name is Nicole Bonilla, and if you like healthier recipes for our favorite foods, then you are in the right place. To make these really easy protein bars, you're going to need a food processor or a blender. And then we're going to start with our oats. You can use store-bought oat flour, or you could take old-fashioned oats or quick oats. Just put them in this food processor first and blend them up until you have a nice fine flour. And then we're going to measure out 1/3 of a cup of oat flour. Now you're welcome to jot down these ingredients as we go along, or you can click on the link that's in the video description below. And that will take you to the full recipe that has all the details, including nutrition facts, frequently asked questions, and substitutions. Next, we're going to add 1/2 cup of chocolate protein powder, and this is my favorite because it's organic and naturally sweetened, and I included a link in the description below if you'd like to check it out. Next, we're going to add 1/3 cup of almond butter, but you could use any nut butter that you like. Next, we'll add 3 tablespoons of maple syrup, 3 tablespoons of Greek yogurt. You can also use cottage cheese or milk. Next, we'll add 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed, a tablespoon of cocoa powder, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, a tablespoon of coconut oil, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then we'll blend this on high until it is well incorporated. And you'll know it's the right consistency if you can take a little ball of it and squeeze it together and it holds its shape. So if it's too wet, you can add a little bit more of oat flour to it. And if it's too dry and crumbly, go ahead and add a little bit more of coconut oil or a little bit more milk. But this is perfect. Now to form the bars, all you need is a 4x8 or 4x9 inch bread pan. Now you could also double the recipe and it would easily fit into an 8x8 inch pan. And then I like to line the pan with a piece of parchment paper. We'll just press that down in and up and over the sides. And this makes it really easy for getting the bars in and out of the pan. Then we're just going to dump in our mixture, and we'll just take our spatula and spread that around till it's well distributed. And then we want to go in and just start mashing it down. I really like using a silicone spatula because it's real easy to get down into the creases and to be able to press it down nice and firm. Because the firmer you press it, the easier they will be to cut and they will hold their shape. Now this is optional, but once they're pressed down, I like to go back in and add a few mini chocolate chips because it just makes them taste a little bit more like a brownie and it looks really aesthetic too. So I'm just going to sprinkle in about 1 or 2 tablespoons of some mini chocolate chips. And my favorite are these Enjoy Life mini chocolate chips. And then I'll go back in with my spatula and just kind of press those chocolate chips down into the bars. And it's easy to gauge if you need to add a few more. Now I'm just going to put this in my freezer while we melt down the chocolate that we're going to drizzle on top. Now for the chocolate that we're going to melt over the top, my favorite are these dark chocolate baking gems made by Hue. So I've just added 1/4 cup of gems to this microwave safe bowl. Now typically you would need to add a little bit of oil to this to help thin down the melted chocolate, but I found that these Hue chips don't need to have any extra oil because it melts down nice and liquidy. But if you're using regular semi-sweet chocolate chips, then I recommend adding about 1/2 teaspoon of coconut oil before you put this into the microwave. Then we're going to microwave this in 30-second intervals, stirring it in between until it is smooth and melted. And with these Hue chips, it's probably going to take 3 rounds of 30 seconds. So after 2 rounds of 30 seconds, our chocolate is starting to melt. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a good stir. But we're not completely melted, so I'm going to go ahead and put them in for another 20 seconds. And be sure to use a mitt or a towel because that bowl is going to get warm. So now our chocolate is perfectly melted and is nice and pourable. So now we can get our bars out of the freezer and slice them up. So this is where the parchment paper really makes it easy. So I can just lift these right up and out of the pan. And then you can slice this up as large or as small as you like. I found that slicing it into 6 bars makes a really good serving size. So start by slicing right down the middle and then slice each half into thirds. Now before we drizzle on the chocolate, I want to separate the bars just slightly so that chocolate can kind of drip down over the sides. So I'm just going to spin these around 90 degrees. And then I'll space them out so they have about 1/4 of an inch in between them. Now I can come in with the chocolate and then just drizzle over the top all at the same time. And just drizzle back and forth and let it just barely drip over the sides. Now you could also dip these in the chocolate if you want to have chocolate all the way around, or you could also pour this chocolate into the pan before we pulled it out, and then you'd have a solid chocolate layer on top. But I think drizzling it is really fun. And it gives you the chocolate flavor without adding too much extra sugar. Now, if you could use more healthy inspiration on a regular basis, I invite you to join my email list. All you have to do is click on the link in the video description below, and that is the best way for us to stay connected. And then one final option before your chocolate sets is to drizzle just a little bit of some coarse sea salt. And that's just gonna make them extra tasty. Now, depending on the temperature of your kitchen, it might be cool enough that these will set just sitting out on your counter. Or if you're in a hurry, like I usually am, you can put this into your freezer and they'll set within just a couple of minutes. And then I like to store them either in my fridge or my freezer for a delicious snack when I'm having a chocolate craving. I have some I made yesterday that I pulled right out of my freezer that is ready to enjoy. That is delicious. That has the same consistency as the store-bought protein bars, but I think tastes even better because I love the depth of flavor you get from that almond butter. And then I love getting a little bit of crunch coming in from those mini chocolate chips, and having that extra dark chocolate layer on top is so good. And this recipe is so easy to customize exactly the way you want to enjoy it. Well, I want to thank you for hanging out with me today in my kitchen, and I have included the link to the full recipe, and it's in the video description below, and that will take you to my website, gentletummy.com. And I also invite you to like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I cannot wait to have you hang out with me again in my kitchen.